Hiya, and welcome back to Promises to Keep, the game that teaches us that I am pretty sure Theo has a dad bod. Like, I can't prove it. I can't prove it by any metric. However, I am convinced that he has a dad bod. I can't prove it yet. I hope that one day I can prove it. However, right now, I can't prove it. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I drift asleep to the soft sound of his breathing, gentle and soothing as any lullaby. The sound of clattering wheels and spinning film. An old projector sputters once more to life, dragging the weary film of memory through its reels once more. First, an establishing shot. A familiar kitchen, only slightly different. The walls unfinished, the cabinets sparse and damaged, the grass outside green. An expectant scene, holding its breath for a centerpiece. Oh my god, who's this? Oh wait, no, this is his aunt, right? And there she is. Sunlight reflecting off of her like fallen snow. She turns as I walk in the door and smiles. There he is. The prodigal son himself. Hi, MJ. Well, come here and give me my hug. Or else you don't get any coffee. First the expected display of exasperated reluctance. Then the yearned for embrace. She feels thinner than last time. Each hug there's less and less to hold on to. Every time I see you, you look skinnier. I have no words to offer in response, so I shrug. Hang on. Yep. Her eyes comb me like searchlights, looking for sailors lost in the waves. How are you, Theo? I'm fine. You always say that. Maybe I'm always fine. Maybe you are. She pulls my mug out of the cupboard and fills it with steaming hot coffee. Thanks. You are very welcome. Take a massive fortifying glug, then force myself to set the cup down. I can't appear too eager. It's good to see you again. Been a while since you stopped by. Hasn't been that long. My stomach growls, but I time the squeak of my chair to cover it. It's been 2 months. Wait, really? Yes. Last month I made a reservation for Thai and you forgot. And this month's movie night you picked up an extra shift and didn't tell me. Right. If I didn't know any better, Theo, I'd think you were avoiding me. Come on, Em, you know that's not true. I've just been really busy lately, that's all. Neither of us believe me. She holds out a paw for my empty mug. I couldn't help myself and refills it. You talked to your landlord yet about the laundry? Not yet. Why not? If you're gonna wear the same outfit every day, you need a functioning washer and dryer. I'm behind on rent, so I'm gonna wait until I catch up before I ask him anything. Even with all those extra shifts, you're still behind? I avoid her eyes. Being poor is expensive, you know that. I do. Anyway, I'm still waiting for Daryl to let me 10 bar, like he keeps promising. I'm missing out on tip money. Well, maybe if you looked like a haunted scarecrow, he'd feel better about standing up in front of his customers. Thanks for the advice. Real helpful. She sets her empty mug down, all business. Jokes aside, Theo, you look like a mess. Even worse than last time. Are you trying to make me worry about you? No, obviously not. My stomach growls again, her eyes narrow. And quit picking at your scar. That thing is years old and it still looks like it'll open up any second. Jesus Christ, okay! Anything else I'm doing wrong? Look, I didn't invite you here to argue. Could have fooled me. Just promise me you'll talk to your landlord, okay? And next time I see Daryl, I'll have a chat with him about getting you behind the bar. If it's the rent that's the problem, I can help. No. I told you already, I don't need your money. Harsher than I intended, but the harshness slips out so easily. Alright then. No loans from your aunt. Not even as a birthday present. My birthday is months away. An early birthday present? Alright. It was worth a try. Let's stop talking about me. What have you been doing wrong lately that I can pick on? Depends on who you ask. Oh, I fucked up my elbow the other day messing with the plumbing. I did tell you to hire a plumber. You did. Was it your bad elbow? It was my bad elbow. Figures. But the upstairs toilet is finally functional, and all it cost me was one elbow. And you know the plumber would have asked for an arm and a leg. That gets a chuckle out of me. This old house is coming alive bit by bit, especially now I've moved all the furniture in. I'm sure you noticed a few familiar pieces. I looked down at the pockmarked surface of the old reliable table. You could have gotten a new one. I say, tapping the wood with a claw. I pretty much ruined this thing. Nonsense, it just bears your marks, that's all. Yeah, from my old homework. Nothing important or interesting. It's your childhood, Theo. A time I remember very fondly. That makes one of us. You can just toss it, it doesn't matter. She sighs good-naturedly. She was always so endlessly patient. When I see this table, I think of you. Why would I throw it away? Regardless, it fits well with this kitchen setup. Obviously needs some TLC, but this whole house still has plenty of life. And to think they were gonna knock it down. Still not sure why you bought it. Seems like more work than anything else. The work is the point. I'm doing something constructive. Labor I can clearly see the fruits of. Rather than just working to stay alive. She fixes me then with a gaze I cannot hold. My heart jumps and I feel the coffee's first violent kicks on my empty stomach. Where I can ask the question, something tells me it's a bad idea. I ask it anyway. How's Joe? Haven't seen her in a while either. Neither have I. Theo, we called it quits. I twitch as if stung. What? Why? She stares at me evenly. You know why. I know why. I wanted her to move on. To find someone else she could shack up with. For the long haul. And she wanted that too. Took a few vicious fights and a lot of tears, but I finally got her to admit it. I liked Joe. Don't cry, Theo. Don't you fucking dare! I liked her too, Theo. A lot. But it's better this way. No, it isn't. Nothing is better this way. Nothing will ever be better, ever again. Silence settles over us again. A silence so crushing I can hardly breathe. Eventually I open my mouth and realize too late that I have no idea what will come out. The words tumble out of me anyway. You didn't ask how Brooke's doing. Her jaw tightens. I don't know why I said it. I knew where it would lead. But I just couldn't sit in that silence a moment longer. I needed to replace it with something, anything, even a fight. No, I didn't. Why not? Because, like I said earlier, I didn't invite you here to argue. Who says we're arguing? She takes a deep preparatory breath and crosses her arms, mouth set in a firm line. I don't even know why I'm doing this. Alright, Theo. How is Brooke? Not great if you even care. Her back is acting up again. It always does when the weather changes. I see. Her doctor won't even give her anything for it anymore. He just looks at her like she's got 3 heads. Her mouth tightens further and I see the tip of her snout twitch. You go with her to the doctor? Yeah, I do. She hates driving. I've told you that before. Yes, you have. Oh no. Not enough. The terrible silence still crouches in between our words, waiting to lunge. You know, you could at least pretend to care. I do care, Theo. Liar. Feel the sneer split my face and tug viciously at the raw red scar. Anger pokes through her careful, patient facade and I pounce, determined to drag it out of her. Well, whatever. Not like it matters anymore, right? She's only my fucking girlfriend after all. I guess nobody's girlfriend matters to you anymore. She bangs her mug down on the counter and takes a step towards me, hackles bristling. I flinch before I can stop myself. See the shadow of my father in her, in the harsh set of her shoulders and the thunderous ripple of her brow. Alright, Theo. If you really want to start shit, let's fucking start it! Does that girlfriend of yours have a job yet, or is she still cashing your checks? No, not yet, but she's looking. Bull fucking shit, she's looking! Well, her back. And why should she bother? She's got you after all. Her meal ticket, her chauffeur, her side piece, her personal fucking punching bag? You don't know shit about anything. Petulant, whiny, infantile. You sound like an idiot. I know a toxic relationship when I see one, Theo. I've been in more than a few myself. This isn't like that. It's incredible, really, the shitty way she treats you, that she's trying to push you away. And the worse she gets, the tighter you hold on. You don't... She closes it and sweeping aside my objections with furious ease. Where's your breaking point, Theo? If it wasn't the insults, it wasn't the abuse, it wasn't even the other guys. Is it when she gets you evicted from your apartment? I know your rent money's going to her. What the fuck do you want me to do? You want me to just give her up like you gave up Joe? My voice cracks a shameful high-pitched whine, like a bawling child. Fucking pathetic. I draw a sharp hissing breath and hide my head in my paws. No tears, Theodore. For fuck's sake, pull yourself together. After a brief silence, I feel her take another step closer. Her voice, when it comes, is softer now, though just as unforgiving. You wouldn't be giving up. You'd just be moving on. And it's way past time you moved on. I can't look at her. I can't! You know how I feel about her. Honestly, Theo, I'm not sure I do. And I'm not sure you do either. What happened, Theo? Years ago, when she really started getting wild, you were so ready to break things off. Remember how happy, how relieved you were when you told me. And then... I have to look at her. I have to. Otherwise, she'll never believe me. But I just can't. The pity in her eyes makes me want to scream. I love her, You don't even know what that word means. If you did, you wouldn't be throwing it around like that. Theo, when are you going to stop punishing yourself? When I no longer deserve it. Thanks for the coffee. My chair clatters and squeaks as I get up to leave. Halfway through the doorway when I feel an iron paw grip my shoulder. Theo, I have another follow-up appointment this Friday. My whole body freezes solid, shot through with ice. Like a fox in headlights. Like a corpse hasn't realized he's dead. I want you to be there. Quite honestly, I think you should be there. 1,000 crumbling pillars, collapsing with anguish and white-hot agony, but not even a whisper of breath. Please, Theo. Please. Do this for me. Okay. Okay, I'll be there. Neither of us believe me. 8 o'clock sharp. I'll pay for your parking. Alright. Dead air, hang time, a million torturous seconds before the drop and the crunch. Before the unraveling. Before the dreaded, inevitable, inconceivable unraveling. Men can't handle pain. The picture goes white as winter snow. The reel spins endlessly, clattering film turning round and round and round. Over and over and over again. Forever. I will never forget. I blink my eyes open, slowly becoming aware of myself again. A harsh mechanical wheel still echoes in my mind, and my chest feels tight, clenched close to my core. A raw, gnawing feeling. Like I did something wrong. Really wrong. Though the details of the dream are already slipping away, her face is fixed in my memory, like a ghostly image burned into a screen. MJ. Feel the steady warmth of her arms around me, and my chest tightens further. No tears, Leo. No tears. Gather yourself, it's time to be normal. Without moving, I scanned the room. Still nighttime or early morning, I suppose. It certainly didn't feel like I'd been asleep for long. Just moments ago, I was drifting off to the sound of Theo's soft breathing. A sound I no longer hear. I rise as quietly as I can and peek over the top of Theo's bed. Empty. The bathroom door is open, clearly empty as well. Strange, I didn't hear him leave. For some reason, it was hard to imagine Theo moving so silently, creeping gently over my sleeping frame in the dark. What do I do now? Look at the rumpled sheets on the air mattress. Then back up to Theo's empty bed. I silently pull on my clothes and exit the bedroom, pulling the door shut behind me. Let's try downstairs first. I pass by the wall of photos on my way down the stairs. I stop, of course, at one in particular. There they both are. Theo's boyish face looks so strange without that jagged scar. I wonder, how many opportunities did he get to smile like that? Truly, how many moments did he experience that filled him with joy? I hear clattering of mugs from the kitchen and the telltale squeak of a familiar wooden chair. I sweep down the remaining stairs and pad towards the sound. Why does it always feel like the eyes in that photo are following me? Okay, real quick. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? He kind of has that, like, dad bod shape to him. Do you see what I mean? Sure enough, it's him, sitting in his usual spot. The fox is tapping aggressively at his phone, eyebrows furrowed, a full mug of coffee getting cold in front of him. He almost looks as tense as I feel. Something must have happened. Theo, everything alright? He continues hammering at the screen, offering nothing further. Genuinely unsure of what else to do, I decide to try to make some coffee as well. Maybe that'll help me think. Make my way slowly over to the coffee machine. I find myself almost tiptoeing, not wanting to disturb whatever he's doing. Gurgling coffee pot seems to take days to fill. Finally, with the steaming mug in hand, I settle down in what has become my seat. Fragments of the dream still smolder like hot coals. I was just here in this kitchen years ago, and so was he. It's strange. I feel her absence now. I feel it plainly. Is this how he always feels, living in this house? We sit quietly for some time. I sip my coffee. He ignores his. Eventually, I can contain it no longer. Questions about her bubble up like boiling water, and I can't hold them back anymore. I open my mouth and... I think Diana, the old ewe in number 27, is still in her apartment. Oh. The table falls silent again, save for Theo's frenzied tapping. Are you talking to her now? No. If she even has a cell phone, it would be dead by now. I'm talking to the fucking Robinsons in number 30. The venom in his voice jumps out for only an instant before he tucks it away neatly again. This anger feels new, sharper and cleaner than the rage invoked by his parents. Who must they be to have earned such ire from Theo of all people? Are they across the street from her? Yes. Another long moment of silence. Theo breaks it by setting his phone firmly on the table, face down. He looks right into my eyes, and suddenly I see the barely contained fury, the panic, seemingly mere moments from breaking loose. They won't agree to let her stay with them. That woman is almost 90 years old. She is tiny and rail thin. If she stays in that house much longer, it's gonna kill her. Well, I try to keep my voice from shaking. I know his anger isn't directed at me, but I feel flattened by it all the same. See the shadow of her in his posture, just as he saw his father in her. Maybe we pay her a visit and see if she's alright. She's not. I went over there earlier today and banged on the door and all windows until she answered. She said she wasn't leaving the house until she knew she had somewhere else to go. Only now do I notice the coat draped over the back of his chair, the melted snow still clinging to his fur in patches. How long has he been awake? I don't immediately reply, snatches up his phone again and resumes tapping with renewed ferocity. Think, Lou, I've got to say something. I don't know if you've already done this, but you could call the Robinsons, like, instead of texting, maybe hearing your... Theo shakes his head jerkily, no longer able to contain the anger in his voice. If I do that, I won't be able to stop myself from yelling at them. I believe him. From his expression, it looks like he's about to yell at me instead. Well, maybe they need to be yelled at a little bit. Maybe they deserve it. No! The volume of his voice rises, the tone sharpening to a lethal point. I know Tom Robinson. I know what kind of person he is. That would only make him double down. In fact, that's exactly what he's waiting for. The moment I start shouting at him, he'll take it as proof that he was right all along. Theo begins to tap his foot loudly on the floor with such force that the table starts to shiver slightly. I rack my brain, trying to think of something else to suggest. I want to help, but I don't want to make him more upset. Well, what if we brought her here? I mean, I don't want to invite people to your house without your permission, but... Theo raises a paw and cuts me off sharply. You don't understand! I physically shrink into my chair, eyes dropping deep into my steaming coffee. Why do the words you don't understand hurt so badly? Even on her best day, I'm not sure we could get her up the street. Not with this much snow. And she's been sitting in that fucking house for 3 days! He's shouting now. Robinsons live across the goddamn street! Given her condition, it would be a miracle if we can even get her there, and they won't open the fucking door! Last words, he slams the table with a paw, and some lukewarm coffee splashes out of the forgotten mug. The room is very silent now. The kind of silence that only makes itself known after the shattering noise. Theo's gaze shifts down to his brown-splattered paw, perhaps remembering a familiar scene long past. His expression curls into a turbid mix of emotions, all fighting for dominance. There's one thought, however, I can see quite clearly, reflected in his glistening eyes. No tears, Theodore. Pull yourself together. In this silent moment, the eye of the storm, I felt deeply connected to him, in ways I didn't before. One by one, his complex feelings come into focus, his inscrutable countenance unraveling before my eyes. Feel his anger, of course, roiling closest to the surface. Feel a rage that has been building and building for years, ebbing and flowing, and sometimes abating but never truly vanishing. It scares him. It frightens him to his core. He fears that one day the dam will burst. That rage will surge right past his defenses, crashing down on him and those around him. Like a tidal wave, or a blizzard. Tied tightly to that rage, concealed just behind its thunderous mask, I see his feelings of helplessness, of uselessness. The dreadful, hollowing fear that no matter what he does, it will never be enough. That fear brings a singular pain, simultaneously sharp and dull, stabbing and crushing, piercing swiftly like a knife and overwhelming slowly like a creeping rot. What if you look beneath it all? If you plunge your paws into the fear and the sound and the fury and the search for the source, you'll find love. Love is the source. He fears that his love will go to waste, and he rages at a world that would waste it without thought. I feel that love as strongly as I felt her absence. I feel plainly in his deep desire to help this woman, even if no one else will. I feel my own desire to help them both, in whatever small way I can. In the end, it's really that simple. I want to help, so I will. I swallow the lump in my throat and force air through the tightness in my chest. Theo, let's call the Robinsons. We'll talk to them together. If they hear from multiple neighbors, I might help to convince them. Theo, there's no reason why you have to do all of this yourself. You never have to do anything yourself. Let me help you. He closes his misty eyes and grits his teeth. No tears. We sit together at Theo's old kitchen table, two cold cups of coffee and what feels like the entire universe separating us. With only the barest effort, I reach across the universe with my paw and place it on top of his. He doesn't pull away. Here, now, frozen in time, my anxiety ebbs, and I look directly into his face again. Feeling my eyes on him, he opens his. Those warm, burnished brown eyes are as soft and rich as a snowy fur. I could bury myself in them like the softest of blankets. I could be happily lost in those eyes, safe and secure until the end of my days. I want him to turn his paw over. I want to feel our palms touch. I want him to caress the tips of my fingers with his. But I don't want to ask him. I don't want to speak. Not now. Not in this perfect, unending moment where... Theo's phone buzzes, vibrating the table. Our eyes instinctively flick towards it, breaking contact. In an instant, the universe collapses. The space between us shrinks again, and the awareness of how close we are crashes down on me all at once. The hot flush shoots through my face. Theo gently removes his paw from under mine and picks up the phone, and then sets it back down and slides it across the table towards me. His expression is more even now. More like the Theo I've come to know over the past few days. Well, shall we? Shall we give them a call? Right, this is what we were doing right now. Come on, Leo, focus up. Yes, let's. I'll start, just so they know I'm present. No complaints here. The surprising surge of confidence hit the call button, and said confidence immediately begins to ebb as it rings, and rings, and rings. On the seventh ring, they finally answer. Yes. A gruff male voice, halfway to anger already. Good evening, good morning, Mr. Robinson, correct? Oh god, I forgot how much I hate talking on the phone. Who is this? My name is Leo, and I'm sitting here at the kitchen table with Theo from down the street. I and several other neighbors have been staying here in his house while the power is off. It's nice to meet you, even if it's just over the phone. Likewise. His tone says otherwise. So, take a deep breath and get down to business. The old woman in number 27. Silence. I know you and Theo have been talking about her situation. We have, yes. Grudging. Non-committal. Approaching annoyed. Alright, then great. We are, of course, very concerned for a 90-year-old woman alone in a freezing cold house without... She's 87. He interrupts. That doesn't make it better! Chat, we might have to kill someone. An 87-year-old woman alone in a freezing cold house without help or power. Theo and I are genuinely concerned she won't make it through the storm. Silence. Mr. Robinson, are you still there? Yes, of course I am. I'm waiting for you to get to the point. What a bitch! Barely a dozen words into this conversation with this guy, and I can already see why Theo was so angry. It's his tone, I realize, more than what he says. He gives me nothing to work with besides a very pointed impression that I'm wasting his time. Fine, I'll get to the point then. We were asking you as friends and neighbors if you could let her stay at your house for a few days. At least until the storm clears up and the power comes back on. I just don't see why that's necessary. Is this guy a fucking idiot or just a giant asshole? I look up at Theo, incredulous. He shakes his head, massaging his temples and clearly holding back grim laughter. I warned you about him. He mouths to me. As I said before, we're worried she won't survive the storm. She's lived in that apartment for decades and never had any problems. Yes, but she's never been 87 years old before. Have you ever even met Diana? No, I haven't, but I don't see how. She is the most stubborn woman I've ever seen in my long life. Hell will freeze over before she does. I guarantee you she doesn't want your help. Whether she wants it is beside the question, Tom. Theo speaks up, graciously taking the baton from me. Stifle a sigh of relief. I spoke with her earlier today. She's lost even more weight since I saw her in October, and she was shivering and swaying like a reed. The most recent weather update said the storm would be let up by the end of the week, but every forecast so far has been wrong. Most of the city is still on total lockdown, and there's been no word from the mayor about snow plows, let alone electrical repair. We've most likely got 4 or 5 more days completely snowed in, and it would be another week before people get their power back. Quite honestly, Tom, I don't think she'll last another 2 days. That's your medical diagnosis, eh? Tom? If you'd like to come and see her for yourself, I'd be happy to escort you across the street for a visit. Theo bites right back, a keen edge now plain in his voice. It's not a long walk, after all. There's no need for that sort of tone, Theodore, especially not when asking someone for a big favor. Theo was right. Tom jumped on the first hint of anger with a truly obnoxious glee. Clearly he'd been waiting for it the whole conversation. Fox opens his mouth to retort, teeth bare, but I'd jump in and cut him off, holding up a paw. Mr. Robinson, how can we work this out? A long pause. What do you mean? Sounds almost disappointed. You are correct in that we are asking you for a big favor. After all, it's no small gesture to house a neighbor in their time of need. I know it's a lot of work and a lot of stress. Not everyone has the time, space, and patience to welcome strangers into their home. I nod pointedly at Theo. So, how can we help you with this? After all, there's no reason why you should have to do it alone. His eyes widen slightly. He gives me a small smile. What needs doing before you can take her in? If you're worried about her health while she's with you, we've got a medical professional on hand. If you're concerned about food, we've got plenty and a skilled cook to put it all together. We've got strong young paws for shoveling, clearing space, transferring her over. We're trying to save her life, after all. We are more than willing to put in the work for it. So, what needs doing? The words flowed so freely, I even surprised myself. This is far and away the most eloquent I've ever been over the phone. The bar has been set pretty low. Theo looks impressed too. Trying to think about how giddy that makes me feel. I still don't think she'll agree to this. Let us worry about that. All you two have to do is make space for her when she arrives. You two. I realize now that we hadn't heard from Mrs. Robinson at all. Was she sitting quietly in the background listening to our conversation, keeping her thoughts entirely to herself? Well, I suppose. I jump with that hesitant acceptance immediately. Great. Thank you very much for your kindness, Mr. Robinson. We'll start getting ready to head over right now. Right now? Yes, right now. We want to get her out of there as soon as possible. We'll be there within the hour, so please be ready for us. Now hold on a minute. This time it's my turn to let him flounder in silence. And God, does it feel good. My wife hasn't had time to tidy up, so his last pathetic excuse peters out before I can even respond. We hear a rough sigh crackle through the phone. All right, within the hour. Excellent. Looking forward to meeting you in person very soon. Goodbye. Firmly hang up the phone. It's just the two of us alone again. How'd I do? I think you did phenomenal. His praise immediately makes me smile, and I cover my mouth with a paw to hide it. Certainly better than I did. If it was just me talking to him, he would have hung up the moment I called him a shit-eating, holier-than-thou fuckface, and we'd be even worse off than we are now. God, you weren't kidding. He really is the fucking worst. Always has been. We have not so quietly hated each other for as long as I can remember. He and Diana hate each other, too. Tom doesn't see eye to eye with anyone, not unless they're willing to put him on a pedestal. And then they're looking up at him from the ground. Exactly. What about his wife? I know she didn't say much. Theo's eyes drop to his lap. No, she never does. It's difficult to get a read on her at the best of times, especially when Tom's around. Tends to eat up all the air in the room. Maybe we can talk to her directly once we get there. I'm sure she'll be easier to work with than him. Hard to say. In that house, what Tom says goes. She cedes ground to him on every issue, no matter how small. In that way, she reminds me of my mother. Oh. Try as I might, I can't think of any other response. Well, Theo stands, his chair breaking the silence. We can talk shit about him later. Right now, we've got work to do. You'll give me a hand with waking the others? Only now I realize that I just volunteered everyone else to help without their knowledge. Oops. In fact, I had volunteered the crew to do pretty much everything. Tom would barely have to lift a finger. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll all be happy to help. Theo reassures me as if reading my expression. I'll take the blame if you like. You can say it was me who volunteered everyone. I stand as well, laughing softly. They'll never believe me. We know there's no way you'd ask for help like this on your own. His ears droop. I realized too late that I spoke too quickly and too flippantly. That wasn't called for, sorry. No, unfortunately you are quite correct. Just hurts a bit to hear. That's all. Seeing the look on my face, he elaborates, waving a paw. It's fine, I'm fine, you're fine, no harm done. We've got more important things to worry about right now, anyway. Only the slightest bit of difficulty, we get everyone out of bed and downstairs in just a few minutes. The mood is muted due to the early hour, but tightly focused. All of us are clearly ready to do what needs to be done. Okay, everyone have your phones? We all nod. I'm guessing we'll need shovels once we get there. I have 2 sitting outside. They're plastic, but the metal ones are all in the garage, and we don't have time to dig them out. I have a metal one at my place. So do I. Great. You 2 go fetch those. Stick together. You never know what could happen in weather like this. Meet us at 27 as soon as you can. Got it. Sure. Theo nods once again and opens the door, ushering us into the bitterly blasting wind. That tree is straight up horizontal. Yeah, that tree is just straight up horizontal. Feels colder than ever before. As I take the door from Theo to let everybody out, I see Oliver shiver and pull his coat tighter around himself. Hunter gives me a smile and a nod, taking the door in turn from me. We file onto what we think is the covered sidewalk. Artemis and Hunter head immediately for their houses, and Theo and I grab the shovels laying right next to the porch. The sheer volume of snow is almost unbelievable. Theo and Hunter's shoveling work from the previous day is basically unnoticeable. When I beheld it all 3 days ago, I felt wonder. Now I only feel fear and apprehension. I find myself looking to Theo for reassurance, and each time he gives it to me in the form of his soft, gentle smile. The fierce wind whips the snow into uneven piles. Paths close to walls are the worst, with miniature hills heaped halfway up the sides of houses. Cars, unfortunate enough to be left out on the street, are almost completely hidden. Vague shapes in the expanse of white, punctuated by a side mirror or the reflection of an exposed headlight. Nobody will be driving anywhere for quite a while. We trudge along in a single file, Theo at the vanguard, the rest of us following the path he makes. He does his best to pick the shallowest paths, where the snow is only knee-high at most. Finally, we arrive at number 27, the wind tearing at our coats. Theo gestures towards a narrow passage leading to the backyard of the house. He shouts to make himself heard over the tempest. Her apartment is back there. She lives in the back half of the house, and the folks in the front are out of town.
So we can't go through the front.
Theo shakes his head. I already tried. Her door's in the backyard. This is going to be trickier than we thought. Not only do the snow piles constrict the already narrow pathway, but the uphill entrance to said pathway is mostly blocked by a submerged car. How the fuck are we going to do this? Theo's head and ears start swiveling back and forth, taking in the scene. I can almost hear the gears turning in his head. He gestures for all of us to huddle up. Okay. So, she can't walk in this, and she'll never get down the driveway, let alone across the street. I'll have to carry her out, but I don't want to risk that until we've cleared the path a little. Theo's eyes flick to the house and then to Rofi. Rofi, I think you'd better be the one to check on her. I'll come with you to make sure she opens up, but after that I'm leaving her to you, okay?
Okay.
Good. I'm counting on you, Rofi.
I know.
After a long moment of eye contact, Theo turns to me and Ollie. You 2 start shoveling. We'll need as much of this driveway cleared as possible. If we can get her keys and get the car out of the way, that's even better. Even if we have to put it in neutral and push it, every bit of space helps. I nod, glad to receive clear, direct instructions. Tell the other 2 the plan once they get here. Have them start clearing a path across the street to the Robinsons. Once I get you inside, Rofi, I'll be going across the street as well. I need to make sure Tom has everything ready. Maybe I can even get him off his ass to help shovel, though I doubt it. As soon as we've cleared a good enough path, I'm carrying her out, no matter what she says. Everyone clear on their jobs?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Then let's get started. Clock's ticking. Ollie and I immediately dig into the driveway as Theo and Rofi vanish around the side of the house. Despite his aversion to the cold, Ollie is good with a shovel, clearly an old hand at this. He and I managed to clear most of the bottom half of the driveway when Artemis and Hunter arrive, carrying stout metal shovels on their shoulders. Where we dropping, boys? You did not just say that. Theo needs to clear the driveway, so maybe we can move the car, and then a decent path across the street to number 30. He's going to carry her out, so say no more. Hunter immediately takes to shoveling with enthusiasm, and Artemis quickly follows, cutting efficiently across a snow-choked street. I find my gaze lingering on number 30, trying to catch a glimpse of its inhabitants. The curtains, however, are pulled tight, and only the faint light shining through them suggests there is anyone home. Can't let Theo face him by himself. And if he and Tom start bickering again, it could jeopardize the whole operation. I look over at Hunter, tearing through piles of snow with a jaunty whistle. think the boys have it covered. Tom will leave Theo alive if I'm not there to help. At that moment, I feel a tug on my sleeve.
Hey, Leo. I don't want to tell you what to do or anything, but I'm wondering if we might be more useful inside.
I was just thinking the same thing, actually. To be honest, stick my shovel straight upright in a snow pile and clap the powder off of my gloves. I want to help Theo talk to the Robinsons. Ollie's eyes widen in surprise. The husband is a real piece of shit and it doesn't seem fair to send Theo in without backup. He nods slowly.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I guess I'll try to give Rofi a hand then.
Oh, right. Flash of guilt colors my voice. I haven't been thinking of Rofi at all.
He did tell me he works in the emergency department, but this is hardly a standard situation, and I bet he would appreciate another set of claws. I don't think he's used to doing this kind of work alone. Not sure how much help I'll be, but I want to try anyway.
I know how you feel. Horizontal tree. Theo reemerges from behind the car and begins making his way over to us, shaking his head and mumbling. How is she? Not good, even I could tell that. You'd think all this would have dulled her attitude, but no such luck. I feel bad leaving Rofi in there alone, honestly.
So, about that.
Ollie looks over at me. I nod.
I decided I'm going to go in and try to help however I can.
And I'm going with you to the Robinsons. He blinks at us in surprise.
Hunter and Artemis can handle the shoveling.
And a clear path won't help anything if we can't get her out of the house or if we have nowhere to move her to. Theo runs a paw through his fur and grins. You two are right as always. I appreciate the company. Ollie, come get us at any point, at any time if you think it's necessary.
I will.
Leo, let's go. Together, Theo and I pick our way across the street, not quite sure what to expect. Theo knocks 5 solid times on the thick wooden door and we wait. After a healthy pause, it opens, flooding the snow porch with lamplight. Well, come on in, you're letting in all the cold. Hurry inside, not needing to be told twice. The gruff, grumpy-looking groundhog could only be Tom Robinson. I feel like Mr. Robinson, I feel like he road rages and quite possibly has a criminal record because of said road rage. And Mrs. Robinson, the nanosecond she loses to someone at bingo, she will spread a nasty rumor about them on Facebook. I don't know why I'm getting those vibes. Also, I said it once and I'll keep saying it. I swear to God, Theo has a dad bod. The gruff, grumpy-looking groundhog could only be Tom Robinson. He looks even angrier in person. A dipped, constantly furrowed brow and a tense, forward-leaning posture, as if at any moment he might lunge. He ignores me entirely and keeps his beady eyes fixed on Theo, as if he were a bomb that might detonate at any moment. The woman standing slightly behind him wears an entirely opposite demeanor, her entire body tucked tightly inward. Her eyes make constant little circuits of the room, almost as if she were planning the best route to escape. Well, where is she? The others are getting her ready and clearing a path. I just wanted to give you one last heads up before we bring her over. Tom nods impatiently, hands glued to his hips. Double checking us, eh? You should know by now, Theo, that I'm as good as my word. I highly doubt that, bitch. I highly doubt that. Doubtful. Theo ignores him and plows onward. Can we set her up in here, in the living room? That feels like the best option for her comfort. You'll still have the rest of the house to yourselves. He attempts to smile. I know Diana can be a bit much. If she's in here, you'll be able to escape her if needed. Tom looses a non-committal grunt, ignoring Theo's olive branch entirely. She can be far more than a bit much, and you know that. I just hope she behaves herself. Theo's smile starts looking a little forced. I hope so too. So, what else needs taken care of? Turns pointedly to Mrs. Robinson, hidden as she is behind her husband. Beth, will you need a hand with anything, help in the kitchen or anything like that? Theo trails off nervously. We all turn to her, including Tom. She looks first at him, then at Theo, then quietly back down at her feet. No, I don't think so. Tom steps back in after only a few words. We've only got so much food here, and it's not as if we can go grocery shopping right now. His wife's eyes flick over to him, an inscrutable expression on her face. Look past the two of them into the kitchen, noting an open pantry door with a healthy stockpile of dry and canned food inside. Well, from his tone, Theo had clearly noticed the same thing I did. The looks of your pantry, I'd say you're doing pretty well. Tom's expression sours even further, which I hadn't thought possible. I seem to recall you saying that we could be snowed in for another week or more. That's why I agreed to help you with this in the first place. So unless you'd like to retract that statement, I want some certainty that my wife and I won't go hungry. Tom's voice catches and rips like a serrated blade, every consonant sharpened for maximum annoyance. I give Theo's sleeve a tug and step forward into the conversation. That's a concern. We have extra food and supplies to share. Copy Theo's tactic and address Mrs. Robinson directly. And we can bring clothes, towels, toiletries, and other stuff over from her house, so you don't have to worry about your own supply. Well, yeah, that goes without saying. As Tom attempts once again to center himself in the conversation, Mrs. Robinson looks at me for the first time. Her eyes are purposefully blank, but leave me out of this, they seem to say. Just leave me alone. Tom leans in a little closer, not so subtly positioning himself in between me and his wife. We are sticking our necks out here, you know. Do remember that. I know. Yes. There's a problem you'll be hearing from me. Understood? Yes, of course. For a long moment, Tom inspects me like a bug under a microscope. He's trying, I realize, to extend the argument, find some foothold, some new thing to complain about. Very well, then. With a dramatic sigh, he gives up and makes a show of checking his watch. The day has officially started. Turns to his wife. I suppose breakfast is in order, eh? She smiles slightly. Yes, I suppose it is. Bring my coffee up to the office when you have a moment. Davis should be awake by now, and I've got to talk to him about that Heston job. Damn, Blizzard's going to set us back months. Having apparently forgotten us, Tom turns and walks out the room like the star actor leaving the set. Mrs. Robinson waits until his clomping feet finish climbing the stairs, and a door somewhere in the house clicks shut. Then she turns to us, her gaze fixed on her shoes. You'll have to excuse me, but breakfast won't make itself. We appreciate you welcoming us into your house like this. She nods quickly and turns to walk away. Beth. Theo steps forward and calls out, raising a paw as if to catch her. She stops jerkily in the kitchen doorway, turning only slightly back towards us. Theo seems to realize his outstretched paw and awkwardly stuffs both back into his pockets. Thank you for your help and support. His anxious thank you sounds more like an apology. For what, I'm not sure. Mrs. Robinson will do, Theodore. I'll have the couch ready for her in just a minute. And with that, her stiff-backed frame ducks quickly into the kitchen and out of sight. For a moment, Theo stands there and stares after her, absently wringing his paws. He mutters a quick curse under his breath and turns back to me. Well, that went about as good as it could have, and far better than I expected. Let's get out of here, yeah? I bet Rofi and Ollie are ready by now. I hope so. We head back, gratefully following the now mostly shoveled path. Thanks, boys. Hunter gives us a playful salute. All in a day's work. Theo and I file around the side of the house and end up to the apartment door. Turn the handle with an unwelcoming squeak and force my way into the house. Oh. The combined stench of cigarette smoke and mildew hits me like a wall. I recoil and Theo almost bumps into me from behind. Steady there, you okay? Yeah, sorry, just wave a paw in front of my nose. Theo shakes his head, rolling his eyes. It's always like this. Try not to breathe too deeply. As we step through the door, stomping our boots on the nearly destroyed welcome mat, it now reads, what? I hear Ollie's voice from further in.
Diana, I think Theo just arrived.
Walk down the small entryway and into the cluttered living room. I spot them immediately. Bowman glowers warily from her distressed armchair, one milky eye glaring past me into nothing. Even bundled in a thick coat, she looks tiny. Ollie stands next to her, almost perched on the arm, looking surprisingly calm.
Here they are, Diana. This is Leo, and of course you know Theo already.
Sure do. Her gruff, gravelly voice catches me by surprise. Considering how thin and frail she looked, I hadn't expected such a sharp, forceful tone. What decades of smoking will do to a voice box, I guess. Her eyes slide off me and focus on the fox. You sure took your time, Theo. Tom give you any trouble? Of course you did.
Give me 5 minutes with the son of a bitch, I'll straighten him out.
This woman is definitely drunk, I realize. She's good at hiding it, but her swaying movements and the lilt of her voice gives it away. Everything is already taken care of. We're set to bring you over if you're ready to leave.
I've been ready. It's that puppy of yours who's holding us up.
Wow. I did not like the way she said puppy.
You mean Rofi?
Ollie says gently.
Yeah, whatever his name is. I've got a bone to pick with you, Theo.
What else is new? She ignores him.
You've got quite the nerve to send some baby doctor to take care of me. That boy looks like he's 15.
Ollie cuts in again.
He's a certified healthcare provider and he's treating you for free. That's a pretty good deal, don't you think? I suppose. He's taking his sweet time, though.
As if on cue, Rofi re-enters the room, stuffing what looks like a paw full of juice boxes into a beat-up old tote bag. Take a moment to examine his face, trying to gauge how things went. You get somewhere between not great and not awful. Alright, Diana. I've packed your monitor, test strips, needles, juice.
What about that purse I told you to get?
She interrupts sharply. Yes, I've packed your purse as well.
If you need or want anything else, we can always bring it over later.
Ollie chimes in, smiling down at her.
Yeah, I'll probably need a change of clothes at some point.
Alright, Theo. We are pretty much ready to go.
Great.
Theo responds, clearly more than a little surprised by this fact. Let me just take a quick inventory here, and then we can head out. As Rofi and Theo start going over the contents of the tote bag, Ollie gestures me over and then turns toward the old sheep.
Okay, Diana, up you go. Don't rush me, Oliver, I'm old! I'm not rushing you. You were the one who said you were ready.
She laughs. It sounds like marble on a cheese grater, and flashes him a yellow, gap-toothed grin.
Smart ass.
Ollie giggles. The ewe gathers herself and grips the arms of the low-slung chair. She pushes herself up about halfway, then falls back down again.
Just hang on a minute.
After 2 more failed attempts, Ollie quietly offers an arm, which, after one final try, she takes.
1, 2, and 3.
He gently but firmly maneuvers her upright and waits until she gets her balance. Thank you.
Of course.
She turns and addresses me for the first time.
And just what are you looking at, Spotty?
Spotty? What am I? Nothing. I'm just here to help if needed.
Ha! Showing up once hard work is all done, I see. I know your type.
I blink at her, momentarily at a loss for words.
What's that face?
Ollie mouths a little apology and interrupts.
Theo, we're ready for you.
Diana gives me a last disdainful once-over and then calls out to Theo.
You better not drop me here!
She chuckles and turns to Ollie.
You know, I bet I could get him to carry you, too. Want me to ask?
Ollie giggles again.
Not if you want him to make it there. I weigh quite a bit more than you do. Maybe next time, eh?
I didn't have Ollie makes friends with a toxic old woman on my bingo card for today. Why is this the thing that makes the most sense? Ollie making friends with a toxic old woman. Why is that the entire part of the situation that, like, I actually understand? Oh, you know for a fact they're going to continue talking after the storm. You know they're going to continue talking. But this has been a week full of surprises. Leo, at the sound of my name, I tear my focus away from the confusingly dynamic duo. Could you get the door for us? Oh, yes, of course. Hold the door open, wind tearing new breath into the musty apartment, as Theo bends down and scoops up the old woman with surprising ease. Notice she keeps a tight grip on Ollie's hand, only letting go once clearly secure in Theo's arms. Right, Theo? Here, Theo, right this way. I'll try to clear more of a path for you. Together, we guide the fox outside and around the house, with Ollie trailing closely behind. Theo takes every step with diligence and heavy certainty, eyes and limbs locked in tight focus. As he passes me, I sneak a glance at Diana. The old sheep looks smaller than ever, pressed up against Theo's broad chest. Her one good eye remains fixed on Ollie, who keeps pace with Theo without tripping him up. He mutters soft words to her as they travel, voice inaudible over the wailing wind. And at the head of the procession is Rofi, sharp-eyed and serious, leading Theo forward while keeping a close eye on his patient. After a collection of tense eternities, Theo mounts the steps of number 30, and Rofi pulls the door open. Theo immediately strides over to a plush sofa and deposits Diana on the cushioned seat. He kneels in front of her, fussing with her jacket and making sure she's comfortable. There you go, Diana. We've arrived. He attempts a well-worn smile. Thank you for flying Theo Airlines.
Terrible in-flight service. Not even a drink menu. And bar services are for VIP passengers only, I'm afraid.
Ollie chirps, slipping a pillow behind her back.
You should have splurged and gotten the upgrade. Unbelievable. This airline really has gone to shit along with everything else. That was great. Scanning the rest of the room, I spot Rofi in the kitchen doorway talking in hushed tones with Mrs. Robinson. With her husband absent, she almost seems like a different person. She listens intently, nodding and asking questions as he runs through the contents of Diana's medical bag, meticulously copying his instructions onto a small legal pad. She really seems to care, but I can't help but notice the furtive, distrustful glances she sneaks at Theo. He seems to notice him too. The more time we spend in this house, the antsier he gets. Theo?
He looks up from rearranging the same blanket on the same armchair for the 4th time. Oh yes, Ollie, what's up?
I think Rofi and I can handle things here for a while. Beth has very kindly agreed to let us stay to look after her.
He gestures to the now snoring sheep on the couch.
If the two of you want to head back to the house, you can go ahead.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Pull up next to Theo and grab the reins of the conversation. We can check in on the other two, make sure they got back okay. Time to pack it in, Theo. We're not being helpful anymore. Well, You're sure the two of you will be fine here alone?
Oh, we'll be great. Don't worry about us.
Theo inspects Ollie for a moment, a quizzical smile spreading across his face. You know, I'm actually not worried at all. You're really amazing with her. Ollie stuffs his claws in his pockets and shuffles his feet.
Old people tend to like me. I don't know why.
Well, that explains why I like you then.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed.
My stomach growls loudly. Maybe we eat first. I suggest, smiling sheepishly. I'm starving and I don't want to make Mrs. Robinson cook for us as well. Right. Theo's face falls somewhat. Yes, I think it's time. One final wave to Ollie and Rofi. The dog is so focused he barely even registers our leaving. Theo and I head for the door. Ahem. Leo, that was her name, yes? I turn surprised to see Tom standing stiffly at the base of the stairwell. I hadn't heard him come downstairs at all. Yes, that's me. May I speak with you for just a moment? What's with the politeness? Why bother now after being such a huge douche all morning? You, want me to wait for you? If you don't mind, I won't be long. You know, it's clearly a bit nervous, but settles in near the front door with his phone. Tom beckons me forward and I follow him partially up the stairs until Theo and most of the living room is out of sight. I'll get right to the point. Seem like a nice kid, so I want to give you a little warning. Okay. How long have you known Theodore? I feel my hackles rising at his question, but I keep my voice calm and even. A few months, why? To be fair, I hadn't really gotten to know him until this week, but I didn't feel like telling him that. I don't like the tone of his voice one bit. So not long at all, then. Let me tell you something, kiddo. Don't call me kiddo. I've known that boy since he was in diapers, and ever since then, he's been an arrogant, insufferable little shit. With my claws extended, I ball my fist to keep them from showing. Always high on something, always playing hooky. Always causing trouble for his elders and betters. His parents were like that, too. A lot of pride and too little respect. Well, pride goeth before fall, and the rotten apple doesn't fall far. You know, he worried that aunt of his to death, poor thing. She was the only decent member of that family. A red-hot spike of rage pierces through my chest and my stomach coils like a viper. Take my word for it, people like him don't change. That's how they grow up, that's how they stay. I don't care what kind of good Samaritan act he's putting on these days, I don't trust it for a second. Oh, fuck. He points a stubby finger at me like the barrel of a gun. You watch your back around him, you hear? Or at least watch your wallet. You scum-sucking piece of shit up. Theo, I think I'm gonna head out now, but I'll meet you back at the house. Theo's voice anchors me. Reminds me why I'm here. It's best not to argue with this shithead. This guy doesn't serve my time. Deep breath in, and out. I swallow my retorts and dust off my best customer service face. Alright, sir. I'll take that into consideration. Now if you'll excuse me, Theo and I should be going. His beady eyes somehow become even beadier. And suddenly I see the trap I almost stepped into. I spent all morning catching Theo whenever he came close to blowing up, and with just a few obnoxious sentences, Tom had nearly pushed me over the edge. Remember Theo's words from earlier. That's exactly what he's waiting for. The moment I start shouting at him, he'll take it as proof that he was right all along. I've had enough of this man. Turn on my heel and stride quickly down the stairs. Catch a surprised and concerned-looking Theo by the arm and direct him forcefully towards the front door. Let's go. It's almost a relief to be out in the snow again. Dawn had fully broken while we were inside, bringing welcome daylight and a sense of relief. I walk wordlessly through the drifts, grateful for the silence. Theo naturally passes me with his longer stride and then starts walking even faster. Must be eager to get home. I don't blame him for that. He's really starting to leave me behind. I pick up my pace, eyes fixed on the back of his fuzzy head. By the time we reach the house, I'm practically jogging to keep up. He holds the door open silently and we both shuffle in. Theo dumps his coat and boots and immediately heads for the kitchen, steps quickening even further. The moment he reaches the table, he collapses into that same noisy chair with a whoosh of breath, and buries his head in his paws. Even from across the room, I can see him shaking. At a moment's hesitation, I find myself rushing over to him and laying upon his shoulder. His shivering doesn't even slow. Are you alright? I'm fine, he says slowly, voice muffled by his pause. I see visions of a much younger Theo, hunched over the same table. I'm just so glad we weren't too late. Me too. Honestly, I half expected to walk over there and find her. I nod, then remember he can't see me. Yeah. Surprised she stayed there that long. I mean, what was she expecting? Honestly, I think she was going to let fate take its course. I think she was just waiting to die. Theo's words pierced my skin and arced through my veins like lightning. Sat in a cold house in a howling windstorm, just sitting and breathing until the breathing finally stops. Who am I to judge? And to think, I almost fucked it all up too. What? No, you were great. You knew just what to do and say. And you gave us all really good directions too. I was serviceable, but only because the rest of you were there to fill in the gaps. His head resurfaces from under his paws. Really couldn't have done it without you. Without you. I know it meant all of us, but my heart flutters just the same. Well, we were here. Yes, you were, and thank God for that. Theo smiles warily, and the rising sun sets his ivory coat alight. For the second morning in a row, we sit across from one another at the reliable old table, tired but content. Can I get you a cup of tea or something? If you don't mind, I'd prefer whiskey. No problem. Where do you keep it? At the bar downstairs? Cabinet above the fridge. Should be shot glasses there too. Pour yourself one if you want. Give a shoulder one more pat, head over to the fridge and swing the cabinet door open. Judging from the label, the whiskey looks top shelf. Must be for special occasions. The shot glasses, by comparison, look cheap and very, very dusty. Take the bottle down and bring the glasses over to the sink, where I give them a quick rinse. I haul it over to the table and prepare him a hefty shot, pouring with my heart. He deserves it after the day he's had. There you go. In one swift motion, he takes the glass and tips it down his throat, placing it back on the table with a long exhale. You know how to pour? I chuckle. All I do is fill it to the brim. Did you get yours already? You know what? How much of an alcoholic are we? Yeah, I don't know which one is correct. And why is Tom such a piece of work? Oh, it doesn't matter? Okay, cool. We're drinking. I wanted to get you settled first. I get a big whiff of the booze as I pour out my shot. It smells wickedly sharp, masterfully engineered to dull everything else. Sorry, you should have waited for you. Bad form not to toast. Don't worry about it, I won't tell anyone. Cheers. Down the hatch. That's a bit strong. Theo laughs. That's why I keep it up there. Looks pretty expensive, so thanks for sharing it with me. Of course, what's mine is yours. Usually don't believe people when they say that, but I believe Theo. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, watching dawn clamber slowly through the icy windows. Sneak glances at him from time to time, watching as his face slowly shifts back towards worry. I can tell there's a question coming, and I think I know what it's going to be. Don't mind my asking. What did Tom say to you right before you left? He eyes me with a measured gaze. He seems to already know the answer. I weigh my options. Tom's a grade A dick. I'm not particularly inclined to believe his moral judgments about anybody, let alone Theo. Why should I upset him by repeating Tom's bullshit? Then again, I don't want Theo to think I'm keeping something from him. It feels like he's starting to trust me. I don't want to jeopardize that. He warned me about you. Theo nods, unsurprised. He said you're putting on a good Samaritan act. That he's known you your whole life and that people like you never change. Theo snorts derisively and reaches for the bottle. Sit in silence as he pours and downs another shot. Well, do you believe him? Time slows as I study his face and inspect the tone of his voice. Soft eyes watch me as closely as I watch him, looking for clues to my answer. Doesn't sound angry or resentful. More than anything, he sounds tired. No, I don't. I mean, just look at you. You've worked yourself to the bone to house and provide for us. Gone out of your way to help people you hardly even know. Compared to Tom, we had to twist his arm to let an old dying woman sit on his couch while we and his wife did all the work. If anyone's putting on a good Samaritan act, it's him, and he's a piss-poor actor. Theo lets out a bark of laughter, tinged with relief. Always has been. Honestly, I almost punched him. I was this close. Then I remember what you said, about how he always tries to get you to break first. Theo nods. That's his game. Bad faith manipulation. He'll push you and push you until you're standing on the edge of a cliff, then tell you it's your fault when you fall. Now seems as good a time as any to ask. What exactly is your backstory with them? Theo sits perfectly still and silent, resurging wind clattering against the windows behind him. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I add hastily, wondering if I'd gotten too familiar. No, that's alright. A wry chuckle. I'm surprised to hear myself say it. But I don't mind telling you. Yesterday morning was so cathartic. I've actually had to hold back telling you more stories for your sake. It almost feels like confession. Except when I confess to you, I feel no shame or fear. Rubs the back of his neck, embarrassed. Sorry, that's a weird thing to say. Nah, I don't think that's weird. As long as you don't start calling me father. Theo guffaws. No risk of that, I promise you. He's like twice our age. He settles more deeply into his chair and begins fiddling with the empty shot glass. Suffice to say, I made a lot of enemies growing up. That's shockingly easy to do as a Catholic, but I was especially disliked. And quite honestly, it was usually my fault. Theo stops mid-sentence, one of his ears flicking. I hear it too, voices from the living room coming this way. Theo glances apologetically at me and moves to put the whiskey away. Manages to close the cabinet door just as Hunter and Artemis enter the room. Morning, you two. Back to smiles. Morning, you two! Hunter sounds as chipper as ever, despite all the excitement. Oh god, is he drunk? How? Like, is he drunk off of adrenaline or something? Does anything faze him? We really have to stop meeting like this. Artemis quips, heading straight for the fridge. I'm fucking starving and I don't want to cook anything. Who wants a sandwich? Stomach makes a brand new noise I've never even heard before. I very desperately want a sandwich. Me! Alright, then go nuts. Artemis drops a handful of witch makings on the table with a thick, meaty smack. Y'all can make your own sandwiches. I believe in you. Yeah, of course. I was gonna make my own. Oh, don't feel bad, Artemis. Don't feel bad. Today at work, I almost told my boss that he's America's sweetheart. Don't feel bad. I almost called my boss America's sweetheart. Fucking. Can someone, like, delete me? Just kidding, don't. Yeah, of course, I was gonna make my own. Unless... No. I'll put on some coffee. Theo putters around the room as the rest of us collapse on the food. There's one thing I can do, it's make a sandwich. Condiments. Artemis calls from the fridge. Just mustard, thanks. Mayonnaise. Okay, Theo, you and I are gonna have issues. Ew! Really? Ha! Hunter, other than the mayo, a man after my own... Not mayo. Other than the mustard, a man after my own heart. Yes, really, mayo is delicious. I'm gonna put that as a red flag. But... Hunter, be very careful what you say next. Badmouth mayonnaise and you don't get any mustard. Do I have to be careful what I say now? I don't like mayo. I don't like mayonnaise. Do I need to be careful now? I am in control of the mustard supply here, and I say you need to treat mayo with more respect. Wow. I didn't realize I was sharing a table with actual criminals. Well, now you know. Leo, what's your opinion on the condiment of kings? Artemis waggles the mustard at me threateningly. Hunter scrunches up his face even further. We could either agree with Theo or tell the truth. It's fucking nasty. It's fucking I like mayo or that shit's nasty. Which is better? Fucking egg sauce? Because, if I'm not mistaken, that's literally what mayonnaise is. Egg sauce. Actually, I'm gonna fact check that real quick. Is mayonnaise egg sauce? Yes, it is. Mayonnaise is literally egg sauce. It's literally egg sauce. It's literally egg sauce with lemons. That is quite literally what it is. Egg sauce with lemons. And I will die on that hill. I do not like mayonnaise. I do not like it. However, we do need to agree with Theo, probably. I am refilling my drink. Have some ASMR. That was shit ASMR. Went down the wrong hole. Went down the wrong hole. Sorry, Hunter, but I'm with them. I'm a proud Mayo enjoyer and I have logged on. Unbelievable. It's so fucking over. Good answer. You may keep your mustard privileges. I knew you were a real one. Oh my god, we are on the side of the emo bird. Well, none for me. You can keep your nasty ass eggs for yourself. It is literally egg sauce with lemons. Alright, I will. The condiment of kings is not fit for peasants after all. Hey, who are you calling a peasant? I'll give you 2 guesses. Not even that fancy looking coat you wear can hide the poverty in your spirit. Oof. What's wrong with my coat? Artemis blinks, clearly regretting that comment, but Hunter quickly snaps back to normal. At least I have a coat! You're not fooling anyone with your 3 hoodies! I'll admit to being a little worried about that. How can you go out in those without fur? I don't have a winter coat. I just wear like 2 or 3 hoodies. That's all I wear, but they're like thick. Skill issue. But for real though, feathers can be just as warm as fur. Mammals are always surprised when they hear that. Huh, that is surprising to hear, yeah. I usually run hot, so a few small layers are enough. Do you own a real coat, Artemis? No. Well, I suppose it's better than nothing. Theo's phone vibrates loudly on the table and he snatches it up. Tom? No, thank God, it's just Ollie giving me an update. Things seem to have stabilized nicely. Tom's the guy number 30? Yep, him and Beth, his wife. I didn't get much of a look at either of them. Artemis's eyes search me and Theo. Are they good people? An easy answer springs to my mind, but I wait for Theo to answer first. Fox sighs, putting down his phone and rubbing his eyes. Muffled laugh escapes from behind his paws. That's a difficult question. I thought it might be. Tom sucks. I just couldn't stay quiet. Tom does suck. I have never liked him. You've known him for a while? He and my parents went to the same church. My father and him would always talk after Mass. I just remember wanting to get out of there and the two of them wouldn't stop babbling about interest rates and ROIs and latest weather forecast. Guess maybe they were friends, acquaintances at least. I remember Tom's words to me right before I left. His parents were like that too. A lot of pride and too little respect. They must not have been that close. Beth or Mrs. Robinson, my mom, and I would always stand off awkwardly to the side, just waiting for them to get bored and pack it in. Did they have a kid you could talk to, or... No, they did not. They never did have children. From the look on his face, I can tell there's some ugly history there. Hunter shrugs. Kids aren't for everybody. Amen. Theo responds absently, then, with some effort, picks up the thread of the story. They've been together for, hell, I'm not sure, longer than I've been alive. So, since the Triassic period. Not quite that long, no. Do you know how they met? They met at work. Theo takes a long sip of coffee. Is Theo's entire rap just going to be old man jokes? Wait, how old is he? Yeah, I know he's like in his 30s. But I don't know how old he is. Theo takes a long sip of coffee. Is still upper management for a construction company. She was a secretary. Oh, scandalous. Artemis's voice is perfectly flat, the voice of someone desperately trying to reserve judgment. I don't know the full story, but I know when he proposed, she said yes and became a full-time housewife. And he's never stopped treating her like a secretary. That makes perfect sense, given what I've seen. He talks to her like an employee, in her own house. My claws extending again, and I cram them into my pockets. I see. Artemis's voice could cut glass and corrode steel. He seems like the problem. He is. Theo turns to me. The way she behaved today, she's always like that. Dead silent whenever Tom is in the room. Kitchen table falls into similar silence. Artemis looks like he's planning a murder. I can see him weighing the odds. Hunter's a million miles away, deep in inscrutable thought. So, how sad is this situation? Do you think she wants to leave but can't? Honestly, Artemis, I have no idea. She won't talk to me. I have a bit of spotty history with them. Oh yeah? Care to elaborate? Theo glanced at me and I understand his unspoken message. Not now. I'd rather not. Fair enough, no pressure. Artemis also looks over at me, clearly having noticed our exchange. Suffice to say, I was a different person back then. Theo fiddles with the handle of his mug, not making eye contact. Worse. I was a worse person. Artemis nods in understanding. Gotcha. He graciously changes the subject. What about the old sheep? Was her name Diana? Yes, Diana, the indomitable battle axe herself. She a clawful? 2 clawfuls at least, and that's on a good day. Seems like you all handled her pretty well then. Hunter returns to the conversation with his usual smile, which honestly amazed me. I mean, when I first left that apartment, I thought she and Rofi were going to strangle each other. I did not expect them to be half ready by the time we got back. But Ollie was incredible with her. I have never seen her warm up to someone so quickly. They were even cracking jokes together. That's my boy. Artemis says proudly, puffing out his chest. Old people love him for some reason. That's what he said too. So, Diana. Is she also on her shit list? No, she doesn't quite make the shit list. I like her quite a bit more than I like Tom. She's loud, rude, and generally difficult to be around, but at least you know where you stand with her. She's never minced her words, and she's never suffered fools. So she just happens to have a very liberal definition of the word fool. And it's usually whoever is bothering her at the moment. She's been living in that apartment for decades, a real fixture of the neighborhood. Just her? Yes, just her. She has a daughter who lives overseas. From what I gather, they aren't on speaking terms. Another frosty, distant family. The world is full of them. You know what? I think I'll tell you her background in detail if you're all interested. Yes, please. Sure. I nod. Theo rearranges himself in his squeaking chair, clearly excited to tell the story. As a kid, I just thought she was a pain in the ass. Another grumpy old fossil whose only passion was to hate things. My aunt always respected her, though. She never let me say anything bad about her, not without a lecture. That's the only reason I left her alone, really. And then years later, when I learned her whole story, I realized MJ was right, as always. Theo smiles distantly. This is the first time he's mentioned MJ without that wistful sadness coloring his voice. He rubs his chin with a paw. Well, hopefully this will help contextualize her a little. She's a city girl, born here in the mid to late 30s, back when this was still a manufacturing town. It was hard to imagine that now. Her father owned one of the largest factories in the area, so they had plenty of money. She was well liked as a child, good schooling, etc. Towards the end of high school, things started to get serious with her then boyfriend, a suave greaser type with slick-backed hair and a motorcycle. I'm foggy on the details, but at some point the two of them decide that as soon as she turns 18, they're going to get married. I was watching Theo closely as he tells the story. The way his eyes light up, the way his paws cut through the air. I realized how much he talks with his paws. And so that's what they do. On her birthday, they go to the courthouse and get hitched. I'm guessing that doesn't end well. Shh! Artemis! Don't interrupt! You are correct. Her parents went absolutely ballistic. See, they didn't like their new son-in-law. Not at all. Remember, this is the 50s. Even for that time, her father was an old-fashioned man. And he couldn't stand the fact that his daughter had bypassed him and gotten married without his approval. They fought bitterly about it, shook the whole earth, I bet. And in the end, he cut her off completely. So now it's just Diana and her man scraping by, working whatever jobs they can find. Some months later, she gives birth to a healthy baby girl and names her after her mother, Rebecca. I don't think it did anything to bridge the gap between her and her parents, though. With a new mouth to feed, money gets tighter, tempers get shorter. She and her husband fight longer and more often. And then one day he just hops on his bike and leaves. Just like that. Just like that. She was 21, with a 3-year-old daughter and almost nothing else. She was my age. Yes, I suppose she was.
So what did she do?
Whatever she could. Begged favors from friends for food, clothes, babysitting, slept on couches, dug through dumpsters, worked mornings, worked evenings, sometimes worked nights. First few years were hell, but she never once went to her parents for help. And eventually her luck turns. She lands a job as a saleswoman for a big cosmetics company, and her career really takes off from there. Soon she's traveling all over the country, meeting clients, building up her contact list. She was a saleswoman? That surprises me, given her sour demeanor. Leo's eyes twinkle. Difficult to believe, huh? I mean, she's so rude. Well, I don't know if she was always as bad as she is now. A lot of time has passed since then, almost 60 years. Also, she was gorgeous back in the day, a real bombshell. I bet that helped. Not that she needed it, but... Again, this was the 50s. It was a man's world back then, far more than it is now. She cut right through all that. A sharp business suit, big black high heels, a zero appetite for nonsense, an absolute powerhouse. He speaks almost reverently. It's clear he admires her. Do you have any old pictures of her from back then? Theo roars with laughter. No, Hunter, I don't. You could ask her for some. I think I'll pass. Smart man. Anyway. Business booms, she starts making money hand over fist, and finally there's enough to eat and pay the bills, and then some. She buys that apartment, number 27, and she and Rebecca move into it. Well, Rebecca moves in, certainly. Dinah doesn't spend much time there. She was always on the go. I don't know the answer, but I ask anyway. And how did Rebecca feel about that? Sad smile. Not good. I know very little about their relationship, but considering how often Diana was away, it can't have been perfect. You said they don't talk anymore, right? Hunter's deep golden eyes are slightly downcast, arms folded tightly across his chest. Theo shakes his head. They do not. I don't know when it happened. I don't know if they had one explosive falling out or just gradually drifted apart, fell out of orbit with each other. It was that eventually, when she was old enough, Rebecca left number 27 behind, and I don't think she ever came back. She never came back home. Maybe it was for the best. So now it's just Diana by herself. Time passes as it tends to. She works, she travels, she works some more. She has even less reason to come back now, so she spends most of her time away. She reaches retirement age, she keeps working a bit longer after that. By this point, her company, the Cosmetics Corporation she helped grow into a national chain, is itching to get rid of her. Might have been because she was getting grumpier and more argumentative. It was probably because she wasn't young and pretty anymore. All her old contacts were aging and dropping out of the game as well. She could have migrated to upper management. I suppose she definitely had the experience. But I don't know if she was built for it. She wasn't boardroom material. She's too blunt, too honest. She won't brown-nose, scheme, or schmooze. She spent all her time working and working hard. And quite honestly, people like that never become CEOs. Management starts to gently and soon not so gently shut her out until she has basically no choice but to retire. So for the final time, she moves herself back here, to the city she was born in, and settles in at number 27 by herself. And she's been there ever since, probably sitting in the same chair we found her in. These days she doesn't leave the house, she even gets her groceries delivered. Probably her cigarettes too, if there even is a delivery service for those. Theo trails off, and we all sit silently, lost in thought. You know her story very well. Where did you hear it? Straight from the sheep's mouth. Really? She told you herself? Theo nods, smiling broadly. She was so absolutely sloshed. I was over there fixing her, attempting to fix her old boiler. Anna got nosy. Picked up an old photograph of her and her daughter when Rebecca was real young. God, she really was beautiful. Easy there, Theo. Cool your jets. Hey, give me a break. My jets are cool. Ha! No, they're not. Anyway, I decided it was a good idea to ask her about it. She snatched out of my paws and gave me the most vicious ear beating about not touching her shit. About 20 minutes later, I'm in the basement working on the boiler. All of a sudden, she comes swaying down the stairs, flask in hand, and just starts talking. Told me the whole story. I'm sure there were details I forgot, but I was so enraptured, I stopped paying attention to the boiler I was supposed to be fixing. Nearly broke the damn thing. Sneak look at Artemis, remembering Ollie's story about their first meeting. Judging by the wayward look in his eyes, the bird seems to be remembering the same event. You think she'd be upset if she knew you told us? He opens his mouth, pauses, and furrows his brow. I am not sure. Gives us a guilty smile. Now that I think about it, I'm not even sure she remembers telling me. Maybe it's best if it doesn't leave this room. No problem. Yay. Pretty sure, like, this year. Time passes as it tends to. The sun makes its way across the leaden sky, the only object in the snowbound city still in motion. And after only a scant few hours of daylight, it vanishes. Time is strange in the storm. It expands and contracts at will, hours slipping away like shadows while the minutes crawl by. Night finds me and Theo curled up comfortably in the living room. Theo's nose is buried in a book. The rustling of its turning pages is the only sound besides the fire. I was admittedly not reading a book. I was enjoying some mindless scrolling time and feeling only mildly bad about it. As the sunlight slips away, Theo once again catches me in the middle of a big yawn. Yes, I agree. Frankly, I am goddamn exhausted. He looks it. He wears it well, though. I know it's early, but I've been thinking for the last hour that I might just get into bed for a bit and see what happens. In fact, Zayna convinced me I'm going to do my best old man impression and go to bed at 6. Alright, Theo, you do that. Honestly, I think I'll join you before long. As soon as Rofi and Ollie get home. Did I just say home? Theo smiles sweetly at me. Clearly he noticed it too. You know what I mean. Yes, I do. Theo shuts the book and rises from his chair. I'm sure it's just a slip of the tongue, but I hope this place feels like home, at least a little bit. That would make me happy. And it would make her happy as well. She built it for that reason. Anyway, rubs the back of his fuzzy neck, embarrassed. Sorry for getting all serious again. I just can't stop doing it. Don't worry about waking me up. Just come up whenever you're ready. Alright, I'll be sure to make as much noise as possible. Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must prepare for my nap of indeterminate length. Godspeed. Oh my god, those two are so in love. Please tell me I'm not the only one who sees it. Those two are so in love. Like, oh my god, at this point, just fucking get together. Get together, please. Theo departs, the creaking stairs orchestrating his exit. I'm not sure how long I wait. May have even closed my eyes once or twice, it's hard to say. Eventually they return. Pull myself out of my cozy armchair and head over to greet them. Hey guys, welcome back.
Oh, hi, Leo.
Hey. They look and sound absolutely exhausted. Everything sorted and settled. Can we move this whole mess behind us?
No.
Ollie says flatly, his voice entirely monotone. I might go back tomorrow or the day after. Probably tomorrow. Just to check her sugar and make sure she's taking her medicine. Which she definitely won't be.
And I promised I'd come back, too.
You don't seem excited about that. Rofi shakes his head. Ollie, it seemed like you two were getting along back there. He shrugs.
She's kind of tiring.
She's extremely tiring. She won't listen to me at all, and she talks shit constantly. Rofi stops himself and takes a deep breath. It's fine. I'm just ready to go to bed.
Same.
For what it's worth, I think you two did an admirable job. Shuffle my paws on the carpet. I'm sorry for volunteering, everyone. I knew I should have asked first, but don't be silly. Rofi cuts me off. This is what I do, after all. This is what I'm trained for. He sways, eyes drifting closed. And I am literally about to fall asleep standing up.
Okay, bedtime, let me walk you to your room.
I wish I could sleep forever. Rofi mumbles as the two of them mount the first few steps.
Goodbye, good night, Leo.
Night, you two.
Let's hope tomorrow is normal. Whatever that means.
We'll see. Alone again. We all seem to have split off, most of us to bed. Maybe I should do the same. No sense in delaying it. I'll have to sleep sometime. Rofi and Ollie's doors are already shut tight, with only a faint light shining from underneath Ollie's. Your tiredness doesn't surprise me, really. We did so much today, and we started so early in the morning. For the second day in a row! Sitting silently in the dark hallway, the realization washes over me. We saved a woman's life today. She's alive and breathing because of us. Pride buoys up within me. An emotion I haven't felt in a long, long time. I open Theo's bedroom door and slip silently inside, running through my nightly rituals as quietly as possible. Settle onto the air mattress, gritting my teeth at the unavoidable noises it makes. Sleep envelops me greedily, like it was waiting for my return. didn't make it in time. He didn't make it in time. I wake again. I feel nothing within and nothing without, save the telltale stinging of my weary eyes. In the end, the tears prevail. They always do. A small gap in the caked snow and ice reveals a watery full moon, the only source of light in this dark, timeless space. There is magic here, a profound magic ushered in on the moon's breath that strips away pretense and reveals the world anew. In this place there is no fear, no shame, no hesitation. The starlight has washed it all away. For the second time that day, I rise softly from my crumpled sheets, driven by some unspoken urge. This time he's there. Couldn't sleep either, huh? His voice is low, husky, cracked from hours of silence. My own voice breaks. I clear my throat. A nightmare. I don't elaborate. He doesn't pry. This moment I can't help but drink in the sight of him. Bathed in shifting moonlight, the ripples of his clothes and blankets casting dancing shadows. His tousled white fur, the faint outline of his whiskers, the gentle, elegant curve of his snout. I look selfishly, feverishly, as if this opportunity will never come again, and he looks back. In the silent exchange, I'm not sure if he invites me or if I ask him, or if the two of us simply understand what we want. I rise fully from the bed and crawl into his, tucking the soft, warm blankets around me. I shift a little closer. He moves his arms slightly. I tilt my head. He nods imperceptibly. And I fall into him, pressing myself tightly against his side. A strong arm envelops me and pulls me closer. I dig my snout into his warmth and let out the breath I'd been holding for years. It escapes as a soft, shaky rumble, half joy, half catharsis. Fuck, I needed this. I needed to be held, to be anchored. For so long I'd been simply floating, drifting aimlessly through the world. Here, tucked snugly under Theo's arm. I'm on solid ground once again. Nestled against his side, I feel tangible. I feel real. I don't bother controlling my purrs. They are my song to him. Simple proof of my joy. If we stay like this, just like this, I would sing for you forever. Ah! 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 His aunt! Ah! I think it might have been a condition, like it's implied that it was a condition. Yeah, I think it was a condition. Okay, I'm going to go cry myself to sleep. Stay safe, have a good night. I need Theo and Leo to kiss lovingly, and I will see you all tomorrow.